Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Spy Family Code White. This is a new film from the hit anime Spy Family. It is rated PG-13 with a runtime of an hour and 50 minutes. And as of the recording of this video, we have a Rotten Tomatoes score of 96% from the critics, 98% from the audience, and a Letterboxd average rating of only 3.6. Uh, which I think, and maybe this is a topic for a different discussion, but Letterboxd seems to be pretty harsh on anime films. So interesting. Interesting. We'll definitely have to research that a little bit more in the future. So let me give you a quick synopsis of this film, and then we'll talk more about what I thought of the film. I did watch this in English, in the English dub. I was able to find the screening there. This came out in Japan, I believe, at the end of 2023. So I'm very glad that it's finally in the US. Because I, first of all, love the Spy Family franchise. Even though I'm not caught up with the anime, you don't need to be to be able to watch this film, as long as you know the central premise. So if you've seen like the first one or two episodes, that really puts the whole family dynamic into play, you should be able to kind of grab on. So, in this movie, orders have come down from high that Lloyd will soon be reassigned, with Operation Strix handed over to a different agent. In one last desperate gamble to show that he and his family are assets to the mission, Lloyd decides to help Anya win the school cooking competition by making the principal's favorite dessert. Of course, not being one to do things halfway, Lloyd decides to get the recipe straight from a chef famous for making it, which means it's time for a family vacation. So, of course, the school's having a cooking competition to earn a Stella. We know that with that earning the Stellas is how you get close to the target, because there's a big party that they get to attend. So now, if only Anya hadn't randomly eaten a chocolate bonbon with microfilm hidden inside of it on the train ride to the vacation spot. Of course, goofy, silly shenanigans. So let's talk about this film. I'll start with the story. I think the story is very well fitting of one of the long, it's really one of the episodes, but it's stretched out to be not only a longer arc and a longer adventure, but I feel like the stakes are raised. Um, you really have to put on hold a lot of the premise of like, oh yeah, these are like they're trying to keep stuff hidden from each other, right? Yor and Lord both have their own secret lives, which only really Anya knows about because she can read their minds. But we get to explore a little bit of their family dynamic. We get to explore Yor and some of her insecurities as being Lloyd's wife, which is it's a very interesting dichotomy, because you have Yor, who is a trained assassin and a killer, but also she's very insecure when it comes to their relationship. So that's very interesting, right? We also have Lloyd, who is the utmost, like most trained spy, but he's also kind of very clueless about like everything that's going on with his family. Like how to read some of the social interactions, some of the things that Anya's up to, stuff like that. And then, of course, we have Anya getting into the weirdest, wildest shenanigans. I got to commend the film because they really go to a lot of places that are just weird and fun. I do love that we get to explore the country a little bit more, right? Or this world, we get to explore it a little bit more. We really know about the two warring factions, but we don't really get to see other places much. Um, the place, because this was released in the winter in Japan, I assume that's why they chose to set this in a more wintry setting, which doesn't make a lot of sense now that we're watching this in the US in the spring. But yeah, I really like that they really explore and capture this new setting. The shenanigans are up to the max, which I think, in an episode they usually have one or two stories mixed, a couple of chapters from the manga adapted. Uh, but here we get to go away from the school, which is already an interesting twist, right? Normally the school is a big focus on the series, but we get to go away from it, so that's cool. Everybody gets a little bit of their own time, right? We have Yor having her own storyline as trying to fit in, trying to make sure that she's a fit mother, trying to make sure that she's fit to be Lloyd's wife. There's some little bits about like, oh, maybe is Lloyd cheating on her, and Yor kind of gets in her head about it, and shenanigans ensue. She gets drunk. It's a whole thing, but it's really really interesting. We also, in the meanwhile, have this other plot of like this general like trying to cause tension between the two warring nations to kickstart the conflict again. And then we have some of the other characters that we see, like Yor's brother. He's in there a little bit because he figures out that they've gone on vacation, so he wants to obviously go spend time with his sister. That's kind of a whole thing. It's a running gag from the show. I think they really lean into this one poop gag that goes on for too long, but I think it's really fun. It's so silly and it's so weird. Yeah, and of course, when it comes to the big action scenes, this movie delivers. We have, I would say, maybe the last 40 minutes of this film are action packed, full of really cool things, fights, animation style changes. We get to see a character that feels a lot to me like Winter Soldier like. And we get to see Lloyd's skills as a spy in multiple places. We get to see Anya kind of like do her own little thing and come into situations that really could feel very threatening. So overall, I had a really really good time with this film. It's not too long. There's so many gags. There's so many fun things about this, and it really looks cool. It looks beautiful on the screen. So yeah, I don't really have a lot of complaints or anything about this. I'm really I'm really wondering why the score on Letterboxd is so low. It feels low to me, especially compared to the Rotten Tomatoes, right? Rotten Tomatoes, that's more of a 4.5 average if you kind of translate that over. So, yeah, it's interesting. I'm gonna go check out some other anime films on Letterboxd just to see, like, are they just rated lower? Is that not where anime fans go to rate their films? And maybe that's the disparity, that we have a lot of people that just don't normally get into anime rating these things on Letterboxd. So I don't know. Let me know if you use Letterboxd, and all that. So if you've seen this film, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.